Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Savage Gav. Today I'm going to be talking about this particular book, which is Deities and Demigods, AD&D book. So there are a number of different editions of this, and you can certainly jump around online and find the story about how it went from 17 pantheons to 15 pantheons. This is a 15 pantheon edition, so it's a later edition. I think it's about circa 1983. The 1981 included Lovecraftian mythos and Melburnian, Elric, Michael Moorcock's Elric. So, Deities and Demigods. And I am lucky enough to own one of these editions, not the most original. And I'm going to be going through the art of this book. So the cover is by Errol Otis, who originally I didn't really care too much for his art, but the more I see it, the more I actually really quite like it. He illustrates the Lovecraftian pantheon, and I really dig that. Unfortunately, I don't have that in this. I've got some other of his art. He pops up in some of the basic rules and some of the modules and whatnot. But the other artists that appear in this, and I'll flash this up on the screen, Jeff D, Errol Otis, obviously, who did the cover, Imoth, who is, it's a pseudonym for another artist, Darlene Peckle, Paul Jarques, Jim Rosloff, David S. LaForce, David C. Sutherland III, Jeff Lanners, and D.A. Trampier. The good thing about this is that there are specific artists that work on the pantheons. Now, the book itself, it's like 160, well, this one's 128 pages, but I think the original one was like 144 pages. And it's chock full of illustrations, and I'm gonna be just smashing out those illustrations on the screen, and they're really, really cool. The book itself, great artwork. Anyways, we should probably commence. So you can see the artists that are there by their signature, so you should pay attention to that as we go through. Now, this is just the introduction images. We have the American Indian mythos, which Native American. Now, I think this artwork is by Dave Trampier, who sadly, I think he had a falling out in the 1980s, the late 80s, with TSR and just disappeared and reappeared like a decade later as a taxi driver. Interesting story there. Passed away in 2014, and I think that one there is by Dat again. Trampier, I mentioned him. His art's very cool. I think it's quite a favourite with the fans. We have Arthurian heroes. This is D, and also I really like his art. He pops up all over the place. Now, some of these are, I forget the lady's name. Anyways, I showed this before, so you know who the artist is. D again. More cool art. I should probably just shut up, shouldn't I? Babylonian mythos. You can read it. Just probably best if I don't talk. I have some comments to make later on. Maybe I should say something. Yeah, that's strangely enough. I think the real issue with this wasn't the art, it was the fact that it promoted the worship of non-Christian deities, perhaps, or, devil worshipping or whatever it was. You have Tom Hanks to blame for that. I'm pretty sure he was responsible for the Cthulhu mythos issue and the Elric stuff and how that disappeared in later editions. Sounds like Chosium was pretty cool in this whole thing. Again, I think there's some artwork by Dat. Some of the art is really hard to tell. Like there was a couple of artists that I really struggled to figure out what they did because they didn't sign their work. And one of the artists, the third guy, he's almost impossible to locate in this book. And the same with Dat because he didn't sign his work, which is a bit sad. A lot of the Asian mythos stuff, I think, is by the JL signature, and some of this I really don't know who the artists are. Some of it is not overly exciting, like meh. That's kind of cool. I've got to admit, my favourite stuff in this is the D artwork, Jeff D and Errol Otis work, and I'm assuming Dat. The Rosloff stuff is really cool. Cthulhu Mythos, this stuff rocks. So yeah, most of this is by Errol Otis, and he just nails it. His stuff is just perfectly suited for this weird, ultra, bizarre, eerie, creepy stuff. Yes, it's very, 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 very cool. I don't really need to say much more. That's a wicked piece of art, isn't it? And that, jeez. Egyptian mythos. Now, I warn you, some of this is a little bit racy, and hopefully I won't get in trouble with YouTube. Anyways, there you go. Yeah, this is really cool. And I like the way that, as I said, that you get the specific artists working pretty much in one pantheon. And Jeff D nails this stuff. This is great. It just feels right. The finished mythos, which should be at the end to finish with, but yes, dad joke, I'm sorry. I don't really know the finished mythos. Some of this stuff you kind of know, and some of it you don't really, like. Who knows any of these people? No, don't know any of those. Cool art though. I think that's a Dat piece there. The Greek mythos, well, obviously. Now this almost reeks of Jason and the Argonauts and all of that. That stop motion animation. So it's great, obviously. Clearly great. And do they have the hunt? Cerberus, which I think means spot. Cerberus is Spot the dog. Yes, the Cyclops. That's Rosloff art. This is great. This is really, really cool art. I do like his style here. And he does change it up a bit, Rosloff. He sort of does, depending on what he's doing, it looks a bit different. Ray Harryhausen, that's who I was thinking of. The Indian mythos. You kind of know a lot of these. I don't understand what the elephant's doing there. Kali. Yep, we all know that from Indiana Jones. Vishnu. Yes, I can read. I don't know anything about Japanese mythos. the mythos that I can't pronounce. Now, I've never really read the Elric. I've tried to read stuff by Michael Moorcock, but I just can't get into it. It's just not me. But the next one, absolutely love the one that's coming up. Drum roll. I don't know what that is. Giant mosquito? What? There's a lot. And that's going to be an Errol Otis piece. Another Errol Otis, maybe. Do like Errol Otis's art, regardless. Another Errol Otis, that's great. Yeah, his stuff rocks, as I've said. And, yeah, drum roll, Nawan mythos. So Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser. So Fafhrd is based on Fritz Leiber, I believe. That would be Sting. I don't know what the Behemoth is. I know with Death, he's great. Cold Woman, don't recall. Hate, oh yes, that's a good character. The Gods of Lankmar appearing in the 5th book. Ghoul, yes, one of Fafhrդ's girlfriends. Isaac of the Jug, that's Fafhrd there. Okay, Hate again. Ningul of the 7 Eyes, very cool, very, very cool. I think that appears in the first Fafhrd story. Shilbra of the Eyeless Face, the Rat God, again the 5th book. Tyre, where women wear little cages around their head. Non-human deities. Now these are kind of fun. So, yeah, I don't know the one. Yeah, that was an Errol Otis piece, which is cool. Dwarves, blah. Errol Otis, Lolth. Don't know that guy. Yeah, let's all dance around a tree, why not? And Gromsh is coming up and he's pretty cool. The Knowles God, what's his name? That's a weird picture. Just so bizarre. Errol Otis, nails it again. Another Errol Otis, that's pretty cool. Another Errol Otis. Yeah, I can say, you can kind of pick the Errol Otis because it's got this weird EO. That is the only one that I could find by that 3rd guy. Norse mythos, we all know about Thor and Odin and Loki and yeah, because we've all seen the movies. I didn't really know about Thor comics back when I was reading through this book at the start, but I kind of knew about the Norse mythology back then. And yeah, Fenrir, Freya, and that would be Hamdial. Yeah, on his rainbow. Loki, Hel, the Norns, the Fates. I think Piers Anthony featured those in one of his incarnations of immortality. Thor, pretty funny looking Thor. Sif, yeah, another goddess. So these are all cool. Is that Armageddon? It must be. I'm surprised there's no tree. What do they call it? The tree. I can never remember the name of it. I'll stop babbling. I'm sorry. And this will be the last mythos, the Sumerian one. Anyways, it's a nice bit of nostalgia looking through these pictures. I never really played that much with this, but I know I pored over this book ad nauseum as a kid. And there we go.